Hi everyone, thank you for tuning back into the channel. This is Mutahir from Mutahir Selling Dubai. I want to start today's video by posing a very small question, and that is that if you had to make an investment decision today of putting in, let's say, 800,000 to $1 million, which property type would you invest in Dubai? Would you invest in an apartment project, or would you choose a townhouse or a villa project to invest in? This is exactly the question that we're going to be trying to be answering today. So let's get started with it. So I want to start off by sharing this very interesting graph that I've come across during my analysis. This basically shows the average value of transactions done over the past 20 years. Uh, and this clearly shows how the villa prices or the villa market has sort of always lagged behind the apartment market generally, historically speaking, in Dubai. So if you see, for the first few years especially, there was a clear lag between the townhouse and the villa market when compared to the apartment market up until 2006 and 7 at least. And from 2007 onward, we saw a very steep increase in the villa prices as well. This is perhaps due to the fact that Palm Jumeirah started their deliveries in 2006 and 7. This was roughly the time when the community was starting to mature up. First few 100 units were getting handed over. And from there on, we saw the prices for the apartments and the villa market both operating at very close price levels for the next 12, 13 good years up until 2020 and 21, where we saw another steep increase in the prices for the villas 2020-21 onwards. And this probably has to do with the fact that after COVID, obviously the housing trends overall changed. And this graph basically shows the data up until 2021. Obviously these price levels for both apartments and villas have increased even more now, but clearly the difference between the price levels or the price appreciation for villas and townhouses and the apartments seems to have been diverging a lot, although both the property types have increased in value over time. But clearly for the past 3-4 years, this graph shows us that villa market has done better than the apartment market. Similarly, if you look at this very interesting piece of data, it shows how since the past few years, and specifically looking at four-bedroom townhouses and villas, it's showing how the number of units sold each year for four-bedroom townhouses and villas has been more than the total supply that there has been. This means that if you add up the primary market and the resale market, the number of units sold has been overwhelmingly more than the number of units supplied into the market, new units supplied into the market. So this basically shows when there is a huge sort of unsatiated demand for specifically this sort of villas that is yet to be met, which is one of the reasons why we've seen the prices increase, as we've discussed in the last graph as well. Again, this report is basically hinting towards how the supply is going to be impacted over the next few years. We are in 2024 right now. We're going to see fewer and fewer villas or townhouses available in the market, and by 2028 we are sort of going to be running out of supply for townhouses or villas as per this report. It's basically very easy to understand as well if you take into account the fact that if any developer actually has to come up with a townhouse or villa community, obviously the logistics and the construction and the sort of the background work for that is much more than, let's say, erecting a new apartment tower or apartment complex as well. So townhouses and villa supply is very hard to come by, and even if the market trends are changing, the developers are going to take a few years to adjust to that, and the supply is obviously going to dry up in the short term at least, which means that in the next 3-4 years. And then obviously if there is enough homework done, the supply could increase in future, and that too steadily. Similarly, if you look at this report, it shows how the overall market supply is somewhere around 15-85 split, where only 15% of the total supply in the market, or the total new projects being launched in the market, are townhouses and villas, and 85% of the market still remains to be apartments. Then similarly, if you look at this figure, this is very interesting for me as well. This is from Dubai's Vision 2040. Dubai's population is obviously, as we all know, expected to double by the year 2040, from 3.8 to roughly double to around 6 million by 2040, which means that we're going to see a lot of end users moving into Dubai with their family, and this has sort of been a trend that we've seen over the past few years as well. So the demand pressure on the townhouses and the villas or single family homes with more number of bedrooms, slightly more bigger livable spaces is, I think this trend is going to continue, and we are going to see this graph sort of replicate itself for the next few years as well, where we will see that the price points for the villas and townhouses, if of course you invest in the right project at the right time at the right price, we're going to see that the price appreciation for those projects is obviously going to be much higher. So this is what the gist of the argument is. I've been a very big proponent of investing into townhouses and villas over the past 2 3 years, ever since we've seen in the post-COVID era how the housing trends globally have changed, and especially in Dubai that trend has been further solidified because of sort of the inward immigration, massive immigration over that we've seen over the past 2 3 years. So I think this trend is going to continue to hold for the next 2 3 years. With that said, I am now going to be talking about which community you should be investing in when it comes to townhouses and villas, and this brings me to Damac Hills 2. So Damac Hills 2 is this massive master community by Damac located on Dubai's Al Qudra Road, somewhere here. And as the one objection that we would always get from clients initially back in the day about Damac Hills 2 was that it sort of is in the middle of nowhere. And that was a very valid, fair objection to have as well. And Damac Hills 2 still is one community which is furthest down out from the city center, about 35 minutes away from Dubai's downtown. But also the cheapest and the most reasonably priced community to invest in as well, which is why it has been consistently popular over the past many years. And as you can see from last year's data, that the Macles 2 was the highest transacted community in for villa ready villa options in the entire market, and also saw a very handsome price appreciation as well. But yet it continues to stay the cheapest priced community overall, which is why it has been so widely popular with so many people. Also, interestingly, the objection that we used to get is sort of becoming less and less valid with time, because people realize that most of the mainstream parts, most of the parts that used to be close to the sea or the downtown, for example, your JVC here, your Furjan here as well, for the villas and townhouse market, your Jumeirah Golf Estate here, your Damac Hills here, your Damac Lagoons here, they're all sort of, all the empty parcels of land close to the downtown city center or close to the sea are all taken up, and then the remaining parcels of land here, for example, like here, this is the MR Oasis coming up, and then the remaining parcels of land that you see here, they're all going to be luxury, high-end, high-priced projects. So in terms of affordable townhouses and villa communities, the new developments are obviously going to be happening more and more towards here in this part, which is why we now see the Valley by MR being developed here, Nashama by Town Square by Nashama already existing here, another very affordable community to look at, and Damac Hills 2 here. But Damac Hills 2 obviously enjoys that head start when compared to other neighboring communities like the Valley, because Damac Hills 2 has been there for about 8 9 years now, heavily amenitized, already occupied a lot of greenery, a lot of water, very nice place to live. And once you go there, it looks like that community has been there, being developed, being carefully curated for the experience of the residents over there since a very very long time. So a very different product to look at when compared to any other comparable community on the market right now, which is why you see the numbers like this: an 18% capital appreciation, and also the highest transacted community the last year. Also, a very significant increase in terms of the rental yields as well. As you can see here, almost a 6% increase last year, which is considerable, and also very telling of the fact that people are willing to live in communities that are established, that are mature, and that offer a good lifestyle for their families. Also, as I said, 30,000 families living there right now, close to 12,000 units already sold. And in terms of amenities, there are tons and tons of amenities. All these amenities, by the way, this water town, this sports village, this downtown, all of these exist on the land. I was there earlier 2 3 months back when Park Greens was getting launched, and was there for a video with my team, and did a quick survey of the community. And every time you go there, you tend to find something has been added up. All right, so this is the master plan of the community overall. You've seen the most of the clusters that have been labeled on this are the ones that are already sold and occupied, most of them. And then you've got the amenities over here, parks. This is the downtown, this is the water town, this is the sports village, tons and tons of amenities that we've had a look previously. And then this is where some of the commercial real estate is going to come, the hotels and stuff. But this, of course, is the most sought after part of the entire community. So if you're living in a townhouse or a villa community, obviously the closest you are to the amenities, the closest you are to the parks, the closest you are to the pools or the water features, the more valuable your property is. And the amenities bring me to the first project that we're going to be discussing. It's called Park Greens Semi-Detached Villas, launched at Damac 2 months ago. The first phase was sold out. Now we're on to the last phase of the project. Last few units actually remaining, last few good units remaining. And the good part is that these ones are situated not close to the amenities, but right on the amenities. So for example, this is what the master plan looks like. Your houses are going to be situated, this is what you see here, and this is where your entire cluster is going to come up. On the lagoon, on the water ponds, on the lakes, on the parks, close, not close, right on the amenities, the most sought after part of the entire community. So this is, I think, going to be the most flagship launch of Damac within the entire community. As we discussed, more than 10,000, close to 12,000 units in circulation now, and most of the ready ones are occupied, very well sought after. But these ones, once they are completed, I think are going to be the flagship product in Damacles 2 to look for. This is what they look like. So the semi-detached villas work like this. You've got one plot, and on one plot, rather than having multiple townhouses or rather than having one single independent villa, you have two semi-detached villas. So a one plot of land being shared by only two units. So this, as you can see, this is unit 1, this is unit 2. So very interesting concept, very rare as well in this market, because obviously whenever a developer is giving semi-detached villas, they are compromising on potentially developing an independent villa on that plot and obviously selling it for a higher premium. So semi-detached villas are very sought after again in the market. I've seen that happening in Tilal Furjan as well. I've seen that happening in Tilal Gaf as well, for example. And now for Damakils 2, this is what we're looking at. This is what typically the floor plan looks like. This is a G+2 unit. You've got a bedroom on the ground floor as well, 3 bedrooms on the first floor. The area is roughly close to 3,500 square feet. We can have a look at the floor plan in more detail if and when you reach out. The payment plan looks very interesting as well. This 1% monthly payment plan apart from some bullet payments of 5%. So a 70-30 payment plan, possibly 60-40 could also be negotiated depending on when you put in your EOI. But 60-40, but 70-30 is what is the standard payment plan looks like. Now, if you were to compare Park Greens, the semi-detached villas, with another similar comparable project, there are honestly not a lot of options on the market right now. But the closest project that you could think of would be the Alana semi-detached villas coming up in the valley by Amar next door, and just a few minutes away from each other. These two communities are going to be. By the way, the valley is going to stretch further down out and going to be called the valley extension. The new development phase of the valley is going to actually extend further towards the Mackles too, so the distance between the two communities is going to shrink even more. So Alana semi-detached villas, which were launched around here in the valley, are the only next best comparable project to Park Greens, and the prices over there are around 3.7 million starting, average, and the starting price at Park Greens by Damac is around 2.9. So at least 20% cheaper than the next best option in the market. I've done this quick breakdown of the comparison between Alana and the Valley here as well. Both are semi-detached villas. For Alana, you get options of 3, 4, and 5 bedrooms, whereas for Park Greens, you only have 5-bedroom options. And then I have only included 3 and 4 bedroom from from Alana to compare with this Park Greens here, because for the 5-bedroom, the price and the size increases by a lot. So, for example, if you were to take a similar size, 3,800 square feet of built-up area compared to 3,550 square feet of built-up area. So again, even though Alana has a slightly bigger built-up area, but fewer number of bedrooms, a more tougher payment plan, a 90-10 payment plan, and the price point is easily 20 to 25% more than what we are getting at Park Greens. Now bear in mind, many would argue that you can't really compare an MR product with a Damac product. So quality is subjective, but obviously when we are comparing two similar products, we have to see things at the existing ground reality, and the ground reality is that Damac Hills 2 right now is a very well established community, almost entirely occupied community with tons and tons of amenities, while the Valley, on the other hand, of course, is being developed by MR, is going to turn out to be an amazing community as well. But yet again, Damac Hills 2 has that head start of 8 years that it needs to be credited for, because when you're buying into Damac Hills 2, you're buying an already established, already occupied, already developed, amenitized community. So obviously, in terms of pros and cons, you have to evaluate that. Now, the second product that we are going to be discussing are called Natura Townhouses over here. Very similar to the one launched prior to this, which was Virona here, which is pretty much sold out. So Natura is coming here. These are townhouses, as you can see, your typical townhouses. You've got the middle units over here and then the end units over here. So these are going to be G+2 units with 3 bedrooms on the upper floor and another bedroom on the rooftop floor over here. I prefer the corner units in this cluster only. I don't like the sizes and especially the plot sizes on the middle units. So this is what typically the floor plan looks like. So this is what the cluster plan for Natura looks like. The purple units are the ones that you have to basically have to aim for, because these come with the considerably bigger plot size, very similar comparable built up area, but the plot size is much bigger. And when you're buying a townhouse, I think going for a bigger plot size is something that should be up on your priority list, because this is what you sort of aim to get with this property type. So I've studied the floor plan. We've also actually tried to make a few allocations for our existing clients already. The launch is going to be on the 17th of April, but obviously we are well started ahead of time with our homework. So if you want to discuss any particular units in this, or if you want to get my opinion as to what particular unit from this entire cluster plan you should be aiming for, let me know and I'll obviously help you get that unit allocated. Again, this is a quick graph to show how the 4-bedroom villas have typically behaved in Damac Hills 2 over the past few years. We have seen a consistent growth since COVID 2021 up until Q1 of 2024, which was fairly recent last month. And overall, we've seen a capital value growth of 53%, which is considerably well. Again, a very quick comparison between the pricing and sizes for Natura at Damac Hills 2 and Lilia, which was the last cluster launched by MR at the Valley. The starting price at the Valley was around 2 million, whereas the starting price here is around 1.83. Should be pointed out, however, that this starting price is for a 3-bedroom unit type, and all the units in D2's Natura are all 4-bedroom townhouses. However, the plot sizes for middle units especially is very small. In my understanding, 1,200 square feet is simply not a decent enough plot size to have for a townhouse. The situation at the Valley's 3-bedroom was slightly better, but again, this plot size of 1,485 is at least 25% smaller than the launch prior to this one by MR. So MR has also sort of shrunk the sizes for the 3-bedroom unit types, but yet the 1200 square feet is simply not the one that I could advise my clients to go for, which is why I've stressed on trying to get corner units throughout the video. And they are still decent, 15 and 35 to start with, but the units that I have shortlisted for my clients, they are all around 1850 to 1900 square feet on average. So yeah, so this is about it. Again, if you look at the price per square foot, of course this D2 option is around 25% cheaper than the Valley Lilia. And yeah, so that is your mathematical equation. So this was about it, about Damac 2, the two products that are available to invest in at the moment. Park Greens especially is something which is very close to my heart. I believe that it's a beautiful product. I've done very thorough cost benefit analysis on that, as I think it makes immense sense to invest into it at the moment. A 5-bedroom semi-detached villa, 3,500 square feet of built up space in an established community in Dubai. I think it's unthinkable to get something that sort at the starting price of around 2.9 million. By the way, there are still units available starting at that price. I think once these units are completed, they are going to be one of the most sought after cluster in the entire townhouse and affordable villa market segment in Dubai. So these are especially the ones to look for. And even the townhouses as well, Natura, I think they offer a great value for money, depending on which unit you go for. You have to be a little more picky with the townhouse that you are going for from the cluster plan, because obviously when you're dealing with 11 to 12,000 units in circulation, you have to be very astute with the sort of unit that you invest in. And this is where your realtor basically comes in with his or her expert advice. So yeah, this is more or less about Damac 2. I am, by the way, for the next week or so going to be arranging one-on-one exclusive meetings in Damac 2. So if you want to reach out to me, if you want me to explain to you a little more about the community, you want me to show you around, explain you the master plan, or sit down with you on one of these cluster plans and then pinpoint which units would make the most sense, then give me a call and I will be sure to represent you to the best of my abilities. This is about it. I'm going to be linking the last video that I did where I discussed top 3 projects where you can consider investing under $1 million dirhams budget. So you would be able to see it on the end screen somewhere here. This is it. This is Mutahir. I am looking forward to hearing from you on my WhatsApp or through call. And until next time, see you around.
We are currently booking exclusive one-on-one visits to this community. So if you would like us to show you around, get in touch.